Happy Thursday morning, everybody. I thought I would stay still this morning. I run all around my property to give you all a better view. I think I've said this before, right? I'm out by the swimming pool. I'm out at the front of the house. This morning, I'm just going to stay right here. All right. The big Dale Earnhardt Jr. interview of Carl Edwards was on Wednesday, and it was really good. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is so good at what he does. Congratulations, Dale Jr. and Carl Edwards on a really good listen. So if you haven't listened yet, go on over there to Dirty Mo Media and listen to the Dale Jr. podcast where he interviews Carl Edwards. It's so good. All right, so this morning we're going to talk about that. Here's my take. Number one, years ago, when I was a kid, the number 71 K&K insurance car of Bobby Isaac. Bobby Isaac at Talladega said he was out on the racetrack and he's racing. And he said, you know what? I heard a voice tell me that I'm done racing. Sounds like voodoo, doesn't it? But it wasn't. So if you go back through the history of NASCAR, Bobby Isaac pulls off the racetrack and his career's over. That's pretty crazy, but true. Sometimes when people are overcome with emotion, they do what they're listening to themselves, right? So that's pretty wild. Okay, now that I've told you that Bobby Isaac heard a voice to say, you're done racing, pull off the racetrack. So he did. And his crew's like, what's wrong, Bobby? I'm done racing, that's it. Wow. Pretty strong. Well, I heard on the Dale Earnhardt Jr. download interviewing Carl Edwards, I pretty much heard the same thing. Once again, I've already said, it's a long one, but I know y'all can do it. It's a long one, but go listen to it. Here's my takeaways. Here's my highlights. Number one, it pains me to say this, but I was the only one that took the chance when I first started the Kenny Wallace show, not 3 years ago, but I told everybody why Carl Edwards quit NASCAR, and I was 100% accurate. So now I'm going to, if you ever want to listen to that, go to my YouTube deal. Just push in Kenny Wallace, Carl Edwards. But Carl Edwards says, and these are my highlights, okay? Basically, he says, when I was headed to Miami Homestead to try to win my first championship, he says my motorhome broke down 2 times. And he says that was in my head. He said, I had been thinking that I'm not supposed to be racing. Now this story's pretty wild. You got to go listen to it for yourself. But he says, on my way to Miami Homestead, in my head, I'm like, I shouldn't be racing anymore. I'm done with this. So he says, God basically is sending him a signal. Motorhome breaks 2 times. Gets in a close, almost a wreck with Danica Patrick. This is what he says. Then he said on the last restart, he's looking good, and his crew chief says, okay, buddy, you've got the tires, man, you're looking good. And he said at that moment, he said, I almost gave up, and I was going to be done. He says, but my crew chief convinced me that I was ready to go. He said, I wiggled my way through there, and we took off, and we're leading the race. Then he said that caution came out. And of course, Joey Logano gets underneath him and they wreck. And he said, that's the sign. I'm done. Wow. Now Dale Jr. Dale Jr. responds and goes, Carl, I just can't get over this. So Carl Edwards goes on to say and goes on to talk about the caution. Now you go listen to it. I've already commented, NASCAR does not do it anymore. But Carl Edwards goes on to talk about the caution flag. Then, to my surprise, Carl says, if anybody was an atheist, I was. So basically, back in those days, Carl did not believe in God. And I'm going to say this in a happy way. Okay, I'm smiling, right? If anybody was ever going to be a preacher right now, it should be Carl Edwards. Did you listen to him at the NASCAR Hall of Fame? His speech was so clear. He was well spoken. Same thing on the Dale Jr.'s Dirty Mo podcast. Carl was so clear. Now Carl is going to go ahead and do some TV. He has forgiven himself. But if Carl wants to be a preacher right now, he's got a story, and it's really incredible. He says basically he struggled forever. He said he wanted to race so bad it consumed his body. From the time he was, a teenager, he wanted to race so bad. And then when he became a race car driver, he started thinking, what is my purpose? Why am I even doing this? But on his way to that Miami homestead, all these things happened that he had in his head. And I'm going to leave you with this. We're going to make it right at 8 minutes. I did a couple things today to try to make some happy. I took my coffee and I put it down for a good 6 minutes. Now I'm going to bring my coffee mug back up. And I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. Dale Jr. asked, has any great car owner called you lately for you to drive their car? He says, yes. He said, I've heard all, Kyle Larson wants me to practice his car at Wilkesboro. He said, I've said no to everything. No. Because here's what happened. He says, I won't drive slow. He said, I'll go fast and I'll run good and it will all ramp itself up again. It'll all start all over, and then I'll decide to go for that championship. And basically, it won't work out. So go over there and listen to it. But it's pretty incredible. It's unbelievable. Congratulations, Dale Jr. What an interview. And all I did was read the Jordan Bianchi interview. And then I gave my take, and I said, here's why Carl Edwards quit. I said Carl Edwards quit NASCAR with a broken heart. I was right. Holy moly. Took 3 years to figure it out, but the interview last night proved me right. I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just saying, wow, I was right. That's crazy. So congratulations to Carl Edwards for finding peace in your life. It's an unbelievable podcast. All these years we've all been going, why'd he quit? Why'd he quit? And he flat told Dale Jr. why. Go check it out, everybody. All right, have a great Thursday.